I think that we're slowly getting to a point where we're accepting difference, which is very important. And I hope that will become the new norm almost, where people would be celebrated to be who they are, who they want to be, who they choose to be, without having to ascribe to societal or cultural norms.
I think that what's really important for this generation, particularly of Africans and African diaspora, of self-identifying, is the need to pick up again a political project. Because I think sometimes we run the risk now, post-independence, post-flag independence at least, of thinking that now all the things that we have to do are material and aesthetic, particularly in the middle class. It's like a problem that we have, and that sometimes we even use Africa in a word that is disconnected. Politics becomes a bad word, which is a serious issue.
So one of the very difficult things for me as an African person is how to take this music I care so much about and present it in a way that's reflective of where we come from as African people, telling our narratives and telling them in our own ways.
Where does identity lie, and how much of that is influenced by all these like colonizing like energies and powers, and what actually is being black, what is being African without that influence? Yeah, the identity issue is big here. It's huge. Yeah.
And what's in South Africa can be really tormenting, because black South Africans can have, this is like in the dailiness of my life, just walking down the street can be very marginalizing and ridiculing, and I've been theorizing about it. I feel like it's a sign that societies are unwell, that they can't receive me well, because I'm so different. I'm perceived to be so different, but I'm not really that different, really. But Africanness is something that has made me who I am.
If I'm a fashion designer and I make something that is extremely cultural, there are a lot of spaces that consider this to be too African. So there's almost a sense of having to de-Africanize yourself to fit into mainstream Cape Town. And that's a problem, because it actually steers people away from the cultural aspect of being African. If you look at African product, a lot of the elements there are cultural, and culture speaks to a sense of identity.
So sometimes you can be in a space where you feel, is this really my space? Can I assert my identity or my person in this environment? Yeah, and also just the separation of, oh, this is a white person, this is a black person, this is a colored person, and what do those identities mean, and how do I navigate these spaces? So these are some of the things that I've had to sift through or think about whilst being in this environment.
It becomes very difficult to get into the center of a space and feel like, cool, I belong here. You find that a lot of the time you're on the outside and on the outskirts and on the periphery looking in at an experience that is a little bit diluted for you in those particular terms. So it's never talking about the mixed race experience, but it's like, cool, the white experience or the black experience or the colored experience, which in my context is a little bit diluted. And I think that a lot of the conversations that young people in my circles and myself and my friends that we're having are important conversations for how people who are mixed race navigate spaces in Cape Town.
Coming to the city of Cape Town as a young person and understanding or having all these external forces compound upon me, and then having to re-examine history and say, okay, why am I feeling these things? Why am I asking these questions about myself? And in trying to become something more than is a reaction to a place like the city of Cape Town, Africa and the understanding of what Africa could be became a safe haven for me to exist, and a means through an idea through which I could begin to form a positive identity for myself.
You know, it was nice for me to get to meet other people, different African cultures, different African sort of inspiration, create a space, trying to create a space where people can come through and share those kind of stories.
My Africanness and my blackness exists at the moment in a space where I am moving and motioning towards not having it kind of reach its form in rhetoric. I'm really tired of that narrative where, especially in the space of Cape Town, we have these beautiful safe spots, safe spaces where we are black. But I found that it's conversational blackness. I'm in a place now where I'm motioning to exist outside of rhetoric and actually exist in action.
We also have to be careful within our critique, because if I had been accepted with open arms into understanding my blackness, my identity, exploring and unpacking what I'm about, then I wouldn't be where I am and who I am today.
I feel we have so much tools, so much resources, but we're not using that to the best of our ability. We're waiting for someone else to tell us, oh, this is valuable, then only then do we say, oh, this is valuable. So that's part, I think that's like the missed opportunity of the continent. We tend to be in the back, waiting for something to blow up globally, then only do we do something about it.
You look at the way black people or African people are perceived in Cape Town, they're kind of like this thing that they don't know what to do with, kind of like this, we see them over there, we see them working in our homes, and we see them out on the streets and vending and selling their stuff. But there is no one regards that to be equal, no one regards us as equal. So I think for me, where that would come from is knowing wherever I am that I perpetuate a positive attitude towards black people, or about black people, or about African culture and identity.
As people who want to tell narratives, if we don't find a way to begin consuming our own stuff and listening to stories from people who look like us, who come from where we come from, we'll never be able to figure out how to tell our own stories. So that's
storytellers.
We're storytellers. We're storytellers.